Hello, parents and guardians, and welcome back to another Discipleship Debrief. So this past Sunday, CBC Youth was continuing in the book of Ecclesiastes, and as we saw last week, talking about the topic of death, the preacher has kind of switched his methods a little bit. He has switched his methods from talking purely topic by topic and saying, can this make me happy? And instead, he's looking at the things that specifically make humanity unhappy, right? So he's already talked about time and work and death. And this week, entering chapter 4, we talked about evil, just kind of the general evils of the world, because the preacher, again, sets his mind upon evil, thinking about what is wrong with it, how it robs us of happiness. And so we read chapter 4, verses 1 to 6, and then chapter 5, verse 8. And in it, the preacher talks about a few different types of evil. He talks about oppression in verse 1 of chapter 4. He talks about evil deeds under the sun, basically this all-encompassing phrase saying that everywhere on earth evil is being done. He talks about personal envy and spite being the only reason that men actually work. He talks about the fact that the fool eats his own flesh, a graphic way of saying that humanity itself is responsible for the evil of the world. And then in chapter 5, he even tells his readers not to be surprised, not to be amazed by evil when it happens. So we saw this pretty all-encompassing view of evil, and from it we learned some things about humanity and some things about God. And so the things we learned about humanity is 1, that evil hurts us, and 2, that evil humbles us. It hurts us because it is a universal experience, and in line with the preacher's recent reasoning in chapters 3 and 4, it is something that stifles our happiness, stops us from being happy. We see evil going on around us, we hear about evil, we experience evil ourselves at times, and it stops us from being happy. We have painful things that happen. I told the students sitting here that honestly, probably the most painful thing that will happen in your life will be brought about by evil in some way, whether it's the evil of someone else or your own evil bearing consequences on you. It is painful. Evil hurts us. It is a hard thing to bear. And I walked through the things that the preacher listed, right, of seeing people be oppressed with the oppressors gaining power. We see that today. That general phrase, right, of evil deeds done everywhere on earth, we see that today. There's nowhere we can look where evil deeds are not taking place. The fact that all good work comes from envy and spite, we see that today. How often people work hard at their job purely just to make their coworkers look bad or to make themselves look better than someone else. And so the first thing we saw is that evil hurts us. Evil is a painful thing for humanity, but it also humbles us. Because humanity is not simply the victim of evil, humanity actively causes evil. Again, that phrase of the fool eats his own flesh, that's very revealing for the preacher's line of thinking that he doesn't see humanity as victims of evil. He sees humanity as a root cause, a contributing factor to evil. And so evil humbles us because we can look around at the world and realize that it's sinful people doing sinful things, and we are sinful people at our core doing sinful things, and so we at times even contribute to the evil of this world. Just what a humbling truth that is. So that's what evil taught us about humanity, but evil also teaches us about God, because God is not evil, and so evil actually shows us, by contrast, how good God is, because we can look around in the world, see all the evil things taking place, all the sinful people doing sinful things, and then we can look to God and realize He is not like that. He is not doing all things out of envy and spite. He's not oppressing people. He's not doing evil deeds under the sun. He is good. And by contrast, looking at this evil world, we actually see just how good God is, because we realize that there is nothing here that is anything like Him. And that's incredible. And the other thing we see from evil, the other thing it teaches us about God, is that we have to trust His justice. Again, in chapter 5, when the preacher tells his readers not to be amazed, the reason not to be amazed by evil is because there is a higher official. And above that higher official is another higher official. The preacher, dwelling upon evil, cast his mind upon justice. The fact that there are higher officials, there are judges who will deal with these things. The ultimate judge being God Himself. And so we, don't have to bear the weight of evil, even though it hurts us and pains us and it humbles us. We don't have to bear the ultimate weight of trying to get rid of evil, because God will. God will hold all evil accountable. God will make all things right in the end. So that's what evil teaches us about ourselves, about God. And so for follow-up this week as parents, in the home, I would ask the question to your student of, how do you react to evil? And then the follow-up of, how do you think you should react? Because the reality is, in the day and age we live in, they're probably seeing more and more evil all the time. It's not that the world is more evil, but it's that it's right in front of their face on their phone. I mean, I can think of times where when Jerica was on social media, she would see a terrible thing that was happening in the world, and someone had videoed it, and it would come up on her social media feed. It was very confronting. We were witnessing evil things in a video form right in her hand. So ask your student, how do you react when you see evil? How should you react? Remind them that ultimately evil ought to push our gaze away from this world and onto God. Onto God to see how good He is, and onto God to trust His justice. So that's your follow-up. Hopefully it leads to some good conversations. There will not be youth group next week. We have a little bit of a holiday break for Thanksgiving, so I hope that you all enjoy your Thanksgiving with your students. If you need anything over the break at all, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.